I thought I was going to do this story last, but I thought, no, 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 no. It needs to get the attention before some people who may not watch the entire video, at least they would have caught this story. Guys, there is something amazing that is happening in the Val, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Everton. Is it Everton? Too. Guys, there was a video that I did not so long ago where I said, we need to do this on our own. We need to grow our own township economy. We need to take our township economy back in our control. And I had said that there are some things that we need to learn indeed, because there is a silver lining in the Pakistani, Ethiopian, Somali tuck shop business, and learn their methods, learn their ways. And then we utilize all of that to advance us. And then I said, can you imagine where a certain township is known to supply a certain product and another township is known to provide another product? All these are products that are convenient, products that we use on a daily basis. And we basically take over what Albany, what Sasco, what all the other bread supply companies that we've grown up with. And none of them has helped us with the situation that we are facing in South Africa. So much so that even the Pakistani, Ethiopians, and all of those people, they duplicate their products. As a result of that, those products have unalived some of our children. Yeah. So, I would this is the vision I was seeing in my head as I was watching the following clip. Please, maybe in your mind as well, you are going to have some ideas that might pop up. And then later on, I'm going to give you an advice of something that is already started so that we in the township can begin to grow the township economy. Listen to this amazing story. Thank you. I think it's Newsroom Africa for covering this. Brilliant reporting, by the way. Here we go.
Isinkwasethu Bakery is operational, growing and challenging how South Africa thinks about grant money. 5 months since its launch, Val businessman Sibusiso Ntsele says the project is necessary to help combat rampant unemployment in Everton.
In the history of Val, it's a community where unemployment is rife. So I thought of an idea that can alleviate poverty within the Val and create employment. Obviously, abantu basevala basebenzi, but the only source of income that we have here is 370. So I then thought, you know what, isinkwa all around South Africa is supported. If in a number of 60 point something million people, abantu bathenga isinkwa, maybe 40 million people buy bread, you can imagine how much is that. And that money is not benefiting any of us in the black communities. I then thought, let's create something that will give people employment, shareholding, so that at least they have a long-term beneficiation.
To date, Ntsele says the Stokvel has hired over 30 employees. The majority are related to shareholders who are grant recipients investing in the project.
Isikolo investment Stokvel started 3 years ago, and our biggest people who've been part of Isikolo, abantu abadala, abogogo and abomama, abobaba, people of mid-40s, mid-50s, mid-60s. But interestingly so, Isikolo have attracted youth since the start of Isinkwasethu campaign, which was the core plan. You would at least abatsha bethu le 370 ka president asinika yona singadlali ngayo ngokuthi mhlambi etshwaleni and all of that. So I wanted them to understand the value of money.
My mom, she's a shareholder, so I'm under her cash hoba a shareholder. Ke beneficiary. Ola investor ka chalta ya 350 lane. I utlwa from radio hore hona le Isinkwasethu 350 drive. So abesenza are le nomlebeng I want to invest on that Isinkwasethu. So we started there, and then athola dividend tsa high and re thusitse ka tlung re khona reka all the necessary needs tse re hlokang for ka tlung.
Ke qetile sekolo last year. Then we ntse ke dutse mara for solanka ntse ke tsa driving license code 14. So gona ka ba utlwa ka East Call investment mo Tete FM. then a ba investa ntlo kaofela ka di-350 then go bua theta mane Golden Gardens then after be re bitswa ho thwe ho tlo bula bakery then be khutla hape ho thwe bula grocery then be ba ngodisa mabitso a rona fatshe ba re batho ba investileng ba tonka 90% ya batho ba investileng le 10% ya batho ba se investang then ba nkile 90% ya batho ba investileng le 10% ba re ba tlo bula shop e nngwe hape zone 7.
Down the road, local spaza shops and food outlets are stocking isinkwa sethu bread.
Isinkwa ngina 2 months. 2 months isinkwa ngiqalile ukusithengisa. Abantu basithanda kakhulu sisisa. Nangaphambi kokuba ngiqala ukusithengisa ngagqugquzelwa yiwo amakhasimende ami ukuthi hey kunento esiyidinga esizwa ngayo ku radio okuthiwa isinkwa sethu. Ngabe sengiyaqala ke ngiyaxhomana no baba uNtsele ngocingo waqala wangideliverela and then ke isinkwa sethu abantu basithanda kakhulu.
Community members say they are impressed by both the bread's price and its quality.
One thusa bogotho bona haholo bona nnete bo monate ha bo tshwane le bona bo bong one thusa haholo le bana ba ka ba ja bona ha le hana jwale wa bona ke bo rekile magotho a mang ha ke a qete mara bona bo a fela le be ke nyane ne ke gomme motho a boto bo reka ke la ka boqete ka boja ka boqete mara ana manga ke a qete ya ba bola.
Nzele says 2 more township businesses are set to launch soon.
When we started the campaign, we said no, 350 for one campaign, which was the bakery. Then now we are coming to another campaign of the grocery shop. And then next week from Monday, we are opening other 350s again. Now this is for another round of businesses, outlets that are going to be opened.
Nzele is calling on other communities to replicate this model. For Newsroom Africa, Channel 405, I am Siteli Swapeja in Everton in southern Gauteng.
Oh, well, guys, as you can see, I am inspired. This is so inspiring. Can you imagine from the 350s that the government gives to unemployed South Africans? They now have an entire bakery. A bakery that employs 30 young people in the Vaal, Everton, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that inspirational? Can you imagine now other townships or next door townships in the Vaal following this very same method, but for something different? Because at the end of the day, when the Somalis and the Ethiopians and all these people that have hijacked our township economy, especially with the spaza shops, we are the ones that are going to have to occupy those spaza shops. Those spaza shops will need to be supplied with convenient products. Who is going to be providing these convenient products except for us? We need to think out of the box. I know that some of us come from Emakaya. And Emakaya, we have fertile soil. You can literally go to your grandmother's house back wherever you come from, and I'm sure there is a abandoned large plot of land that you can turn it into an agricultural something, garden or whatever the case might be. But of course, all of these things are going to require us to go and research, go to farmers. I'm telling you, there are white farmers that are willing to show you the ropes. They are out there. And if you could take those methods that they are going to teach you, and then you go and plant fruit, vegetables, and then you do poultry. We've got large plots of lands back in our homelands, and we can sifuye iy'nkukhu, sifuye iy'nkomo, sifuye iy'klabhu, sifuye iy'nakuzana goats. And this is the meat that what do? We come to Joburg or wherever, even right there in the rural. You supply that meat to spaza shops that used to be run by Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Ethiopians, and Somalis. Chickens, whether live chicken or chicken meat for that matter. I know I'm just scratching the surface with what I'm trying to say here, but what I'm trying to plant in your head is that in your own community, those of you who are getting these 370 rands, I think it is right now. Maybe you need to open a similar stockfile, but don't just open the stockfile without first going to these people in the VAR and say, hey guys, we are here to bother you. How did you do it? Show us step by step how you did it. Because sometimes you might think you are doing exactly the way they are doing. You don't know what is the successful formula in order for them to now have a fully functioning bakery that is 5 months old, and it started to supply bread in the Val. Now we would like you guys, I would like to see you guys supply, you having a tuck shop, and you buy your stock from Isinkosetu when you need bread in your tuck shop. I know, because if you buy Albany and you buy Sasco, that means you are going to have to increase the price of bread to about 3 rand more so that you can make 2 rand profit. This thing that is holding us, especially Black South Africans, is an attitude that I despise. I've despised this attitude since I was a little boy. Ufuna ukuba rich ngathi. What is that? Do you think this is what Muslims say? Do you think that's what Jews say? Hence, they are this rich in the world? Like how Fuba rich ngathi? No, it's a community thing. I don't know where I learned this. I think I might have learned it back in school about both the Muslim and the Jews. You know what they do? You see the rand. The rand circulates 9 times inside the community before it goes out. What does that mean? It means it's going to cover every crack. Let me give you a practical example. A Somali comes to South Africa through a petrol tank and successfully crosses the border and is into South Africa. When he gets here, he goes straight to his Somali brothers. What do you think the Somali brothers are going to do? They're going to rally around the Somali that just arrived with a oil tank in the tank. Next week, he already has a spaza shop. How do you think he has that spaza shop? I know right now it's easy for them, but back in the day, when they were starting to come in and building these shops, how do you think they did it? They took the rand that they were making and it was circulating. By circulating, it means it came to this new brother in South Africa and they said, hey, in South Africa, this is how we survive. We own spaza shops. So boom, here's 100,000 rand to do your stock, but you have to find your own plot or I don't know, what do you call this place? Venue to do your shop. That is what you call circulating the rand. So every new Somali or every new Ethiopian or every new Jew, that is what they do. They take that rand, it goes to this person until everybody is covered. Every Somali is covered. Every Somali owns a spaza shop. Every Somali doesn't ask for money. Every Somali is not a bothersome to their own. And that's when the rand goes out. In most cases, it's going to Al-Shabaab. Can you imagine? So they don't say, Ufunguba reaching out. It is what is holding us back as Black people. You want to be rich with... It's nonsense. It's nonsense. So now you have an opportunity to be rich too. Take your 370 rand, form a stockfile like these ones, but do your due diligence. They have a winning formula, these guys. Find out what that winning formula is. Bother them. I'm hoping they will also have like a line, either a WhatsApp line or a telephone line where they will be answering these questions. Like somebody dedicated in teaching South Africans how they did this. Trust me, sooner or later, we will all be owning different means of production. And these means of productions are the ones, and I'm not saying just puzzle shop, any other business. There are so many business opportunities in this country that we are not grabbing. Do you know that we can actually create our own fashion house like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Christian Dior, and all of that stuff? Do you know that? We do have the materials. Oh, better yet, China. When Donald Trump in the beginning was trying to do one, two, three things with tariffs, and then Chinese came and said, "Oh, did you know that Louis Vuitton, this is where they get their things from?" Remember those videos? If it means we do our stock taking in China, then so be it. So be it. So this 370s, so much stuff that it can do. And you heard that girl sharing how at home now they have things before they used to struggle for those things. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I said earlier, there is somebody that has already started something similar to this, but she wants to do it at a grand scale. That is Professor Anele Hammond. I'm going to leave her email address so that you will join. It's almost like exactly what these guys did in the Val, but she wants to do it at a grand scale where everybody almost at the same time they get to benefit from the stuff that she has planned. She's got brilliant ideas, and all that she's thinking about are the people that have been left behind by the South African government. I heard the minister of small business and whatnot, the lady arrogant. She's arrogant. She even went as far as saying the reason why we are slow in delivering is because we are doing due diligence. Of what? Since when we had time in this world? Who gave us the time? They said, "Oh, take your time." Anyways, I still think she's useless. So now let's take this in our own hands rather than depending on the government and holding on to a wall that will never fall. We're just literally holding that wall not to fall, and it's not falling, and it will never will fall. So let's grab the bull by the horns like these people have shown us in the Val, and then wrestle with this bull. I am sure in the next 10 years or so, we will not depend on ShopRite. We will not depend on Pick and Pay. It's going to be the middle class, not us. Us, we will be holding it down. That is why my next story is very important. So the cabinet lekgotla, I think, took place, I don't know when, I think maybe today. And the minister in the presidency, who also happens to be the Minister of Intelligence, Kumbutso Chabeni, came to brief the media about the decisions that were taken by the cabinet. And they came out scathing on illegal foreigners. But before the illegal foreigners, they started with foreigners in respective countries that have been busy propagating against South Africa, but spreading propaganda, but spreading fake videos to tarnish the image of South Africa. They condemned that, and they said they are also going to make sure that those that commit violence during peaceful protests, they are going to be dealt with. Now, I'm not quite sure where she got that from, that the protests are violent. But hey, I don't support violence either. And if anybody in our marches tries it, it's going to be us who will have to do citizen arrest, call the police so that they get charged, prosecuted, and convicted. Because we are not here to play games. We are not here to commit crimes. What we want is crimes in this country to go away to the countries where they belong, Nigeria and all the other ones. So she did also come. Okay, let me just, before I go to the next topic she spoke about, listen to her briefing to the media. Here we go.
On safety and security, the immigration challenges facing South Africa. Cabinet condemned the viral circulation of fake videos and images claiming to be attacks of foreign nationals in South Africa. The fake videos and images are not only fake, but they are intended to undermine the good reputation of South Africa internationally and undermine South Africa's pursuit of a better Africa agenda. South Africans are within their right to protest against the spiraling illegal immigration challenge, but violence linked to those protests in the past is not acceptable, and law enforcement must deal with the instigators of such violence decisively. Cabinet condemned the opportunistic attempts to hijack the genuine concerns of South Africans about high unemployment and limited economic opportunities by mobilizing South Africans to destabilize the country, including mobilizing attacks on foreign nationals and the tribal mobilization trend. Cabinet reiterated that there is ongoing work to address the problem of illegal immigration, which work includes the strengthening of border management through the work of the BMA, speeding up deportations, dealing with criminality within the immigrant communities, and protecting jobs and opportunities for South Africans. On opportunities for South Africans, Cabinet has directed the Department of Employment and Labour to intensify inspections of workplaces to ensure compliance with employment laws across vulnerable sectors such as hospitality, farms, trucking, construction, amongst others. Cabinet further directed municipalities to ensure the enforcement of municipal bylaws with priority given to trading bylaws. South Africans must also play their part by refraining from subleasing their business licenses to undocumented foreign nationals. On a policy level, the revised white paper on immigration addresses constraints with current immigration laws by introducing provisions of first country of safety principle, moving refugee reception centers nearest to the border, and a clause to enable relevant departments to designate certain trades, professions, and businesses only for South Africans and refugees.
Okay, so the question that I want to ask the minister in the presidency, so what's the deadline? When are they going? Because we need to hear pronouncement coming from the cabinet that illegal foreigners, they are given so much time to wind up all of their businesses and take off from South Africa. Because it is not going to help to speak just like this. This is to appease us. But when are we going to get something concrete? People going back to their countries, literally going back to their countries where they come from. And you need to speak to the governments to come and collect their people. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, all of them. When are we going to hear a deadline, government? This is not enough. What is enough is hearing you giving them a deadline. Because we cannot continue to live our lives in jeopardy if you are not going to. They're not going to take you seriously. They're going to throw their hands as usual, big mouth. They're just trying to appease South Africans. That's what they say. That's exactly what they say. But now when you put a deadline and you have spoken to their governments and guarantee their governments that beyond this, if you're not going to do anything, what South Africans do, we are not responsible for it. So we like to hear a deadline, and that deadline better be sooner than later. Sooner than later. Now let's move on to the next one. So Chabeni spoke about the white paper, how they are doing everything to make sure that the white paper is going to be implemented. We know this is something that's going to happen somewhere between 2027 and 2028. We don't have all that time. And by the way, I should remind you, by 2028, and this is, no, by the end of 2026 and the white paper is not implemented, your votes are gone through the window. By the time you implement the white paper into now an act, by 2027, 2028, you would have lost the people of South Africa. That is why it's important for you to give a deadline to illegal foreigners in the country. We are cleaning. We want to live a peaceful life, knowing very well that nobody's going to burst into our doors while we are asleep, wipe us out, and not caught. We are tired of that. So Chabeni continued to say that the first safe country principle is actually getting implemented as we speak. So there's nobody that is going to say, I come from a war-torn country in the SADC. There are no wars in the SADC. If a war should break out in SADC, for example, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Swaziland, or Lesotho, then yes, South Africa may be the first safe country. But we are sick and tired of being the first safe country. If there's a war that breaks out in Botswana, can they go to Zimbabwe or Mozambique? There are no wars there. Can we be relieved? And secondly, Zimbabweans cannot say, oh, well, we are having economic situation in Zimbabwe. That's not war. I don't mind us being economic migrants. You come in, you do your purchasing, stocking, whatever, and then go back home. That I don't mind. What I mind is when you try to slid yourself into our society and want to be us. No, we don't want that anymore. We don't want that anymore.
We had the draft white paper on immigration and refugee protection, and we revised it again because there were gaps that were not included in the draft white paper. We've revised it and we've approved it, and Home Affairs is working for it to be a bill. In that, we've made provision of first country of safety. You'll recall in the previous post-cabinet briefing, I indicated that in terms of first country of safety principle says, if there's a war in Zimbabwe, in Mozambique, in Eswatini, in Lesotho, in Botswana, in Namibia, the first country of safety can be South Africa or any other, because we're the first country that they go to. And I indicated at that briefing that there is no war even within the SADC region where people could justify flocking to South Africa. The wars that we know of now, it's in Sudan. And South Africa and Sudan, there are many countries of safety before Sudanese could arrive here. We have said we need to we are putting that provision in our laws so that we can be able to remove people who want to seek refugee status in South Africa who are not entitled to be in South Africa because they are other first countries of safety. South Africa cannot be a center where everybody flocks to. But critical to that, as government, we have also said the problems of immigration southwards, outside of the criminality and other things that are happening in that movement, the human trafficking, drug trafficking, gun trafficking, and terrorism that is flowing through, we have said it's a development issue. We need to work in, that's why in our chairship of SADC and in our interventions, we are saying we are supporting the industrialization and development of the region of SADC and support fully the agenda of the Agenda 2063 of the African Union for silencing the guns to allow development and Africa to prosper. That's why South Africa has been the biggest champion of the African continental free trade area.
Somebody once asked me, how do I feel about Lesotho? What was the question? How do I feel about Lesotho and Swaziland? Are they also? I said, they are family. As a matter of fact, if I ever had to become a president, I'm sorry, I don't mean any disrespect to Basotho and Swati people. If I was president, I would finish the job that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi tried in 1996. Because anyways, if I go to Lesotho right now, I'm going to use the rand. They use the rand. If I go to Swaziland or Eswatini, same thing. So you are as good as South Africans, in my opinion. And that is why whenever you hear me rant about illegal foreigners, you never hear me speak about Lesotho and Swaziland. Because in my head, they are us. Yes, Lesotho does have some naughty citizens there. They come into the country heartless, to say the least. But Sotho people as a whole, I mean, Lesotho is part of the Free State, in my opinion. Again, no offense. I'm just saying. So that is why you will never hear me shout on the mountaintop. They are family. Botswana is family. Namibia is family. Oh, definitely. The other ones, they have caused us pain for me to even consider them. They caused us pain. Mozambique and Zimbabwe. All the other SADC countries, especially those that are surrounding South Africa, I have no issues with them. And I don't think any South African has an issue with them. We would love to have them come in and out legally, though. So those are the things that she said. Again, deadline. All of this talk is empty without a deadline to illegal foreigners in South Africa. They take decisive decisions against us. So let's have balls, Miss Chabeni. Let's have balls. And another thing that I also heard, the intensification of employers in the hospitality industry, transport, construction, and elsewhere. Anybody that has hired illegal foreigners, they are going to be dealt with. Where have I heard this before again? Because these employers, what they do is bribe the very same inspectors that you are going to be sending. And guess what? South Africans will still remain unemployed. And what are you going to do about ZEP? ZEP? Because in order for these jobs to be opened, you need to cancel ZEP. Send Zimbabweans back to Zimbabwe. Sanctions have been lifted. It's time they went and rolled up their sleeves and start building their economy. They cannot do it here in their millions. It's impossible. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you that happened late afternoon on the 7th of May, 2026. I don't know what your thoughts are. Please, I would like to hear from you in the comment section, South Africans. South Africans. Because I see now my comment section is starting to get invaded. And the invaders, they don't have any accountability to what I say. They want to defend the indefensible, which boils down to this. It's not working. So, fellow South Africans, I'm telling you, fellow South Africans, you are the ones that need to make a comment. Please, whatever we do, let's learn from Everton. They've led the way, and it's now our time to follow them. Let's do our due diligence, and I'm going to leave Professor Annele Hammond. She has some great plans, and she's collecting emails from different parts of South Africa, those that want to join. She already has a university, and this university, it was almost funded by government until government, you know what they did, right? Exactly. So with that said, I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.